Having traveled back to the 1980s, my uncle forcefully saddled me with two sisters who hadn't eaten for 2 days as my wives. No bride price needed, just give them something to eat. I refused on the surface, but inwardly I calculated. With 2 more mouths to feed, the game in these mountains won't be enough to go around. That very night, I went into the mountains to set traps, but unexpectedly ran into 2 pairs of glowing green eyes. Mountain wild dogs. I tightened my grip on the dagger and smiled. Just in time. The family is short on meat. Xia Kingdom, Kangmang Ridge, Qianshan Village. Xiaoyu, just take them in. In the village, only you can look after them. The others can't even get enough to eat. So how could they have extra grain for them? You're not that young anymore. It's time to take a wife. Just consider it your uncle begging you, okay? Inside the house, I looked at the 2 young girls standing behind my uncle and hesitated. Neither of them looked bad. They were standard beauty material, just with somewhat sallow skin. It was probably caused by malnutrition. Uncle, you know my situation. There's nothing much good at home, and I don't have extra money for a bride price either. I spoke to refuse, because the remaining grain at home wasn't much, only enough for me alone. If 2 more mouths suddenly had to be fed, my life would become difficult too. I'm not from this village, my soul transmigrated here. This place is Kangmang Ridge, where the mountain range stretches across 100,000 li like the backbone of the earth. To survive, one must keep hunting food every day to fill one's stomach. But the mountains are full of wild beasts, so going out is extremely dangerous. On top of that, this year's weather is dry, and the harvest has been very poor. Every household can only eat 1 meal a day. Fortunately, I used to be a special mercenary soldier, often living with my life on the line, with formidable wilderness hunting skills. That's the only reason I can hunt a little game every day to meet my living needs. No bride price or anything. As long as you give them a bite to eat, we can at least give an explanation to their dead father. My uncle tightly gripped my hand and wouldn't let go, his tone somewhat pleading. The girls behind him were the daughters of an old friend, entrusted to his care before their father died. But now, his own family could barely manage to eat, so how could there be extra grain for them? Fine. I couldn't resist those pleading eyes and agreed to the request. When I had nowhere to go, it was my uncle who gave me a house to live in, and I've kept that kindness in my heart. Good, come on. Hurry and thank Xiaoyu. From now on you'll live with him, and I can finally rest easy. A smile appeared on my uncle's face, and the worry weighing on his heart was finally lifted. Seeing that it was getting late, he didn't stay any longer and left with a wave of his hand. What's your names? I closed the door and looked at the 2 pitiful little girls in front of me. Judging by their appearance, they seemed unfamiliar, probably not from the village. So how had they ended up in this poor remote mountain place? My name is Lin Wanner. She's my younger sister. Lin Xiaoqing. Thank you for taking us in, to repay you. I can agree to be your wife, but my younger sister is still young. Wait, can we talk about it again in 2 years? Lin Wanner had a pair of bright, round black eyes, and her skin was somewhat sallow from malnutrition. But it still couldn't hide her beauty. She was as elegant as a blooming white lotus. Sister, Lin Xiaoqing tugged at Lin Wanner's clothes. She was a little scared, but even more than that, she wanted to survive. They hadn't eaten for 2 days already, and when they heard that the man before them wouldn't take them in, despair had already filled their hearts. The 2 had gone to several places, but those people had all been unwilling to shelter them. Now that the man before them was willing to take care of them, he didn't look like a bad person and probably wouldn't harbor any crooked thoughts. Xiaoqing, be good. We have nothing at all. We can't let him take care of us for nothing. Lin Wanner was older, having just turned 18, while her younger sister was only 16. She had no other choice either. Who would let a strange man immediately become their husband? As for whether you're my wife or not, we can talk about that later. My name is Zhong Yue. Since I promised my uncle, I'll take care of you from now on. I could tell these 2 were somewhat afraid. They just wanted to survive. In this kind of environment, no one has it easy. As for what my uncle said about treating the 2 of them as wives, I just listened and didn't take it seriously. Gurgle. At that moment, 2 stomachs growled with hunger. Brother Yu, we haven't eaten for 2 days. Lin Wanner looked embarrassed, staring at the bowl on the table and licking her chapped lips. Right now, she could even eat a dead rat. There's food on the table, it's my dinner. You 2 eat first. I'll go outside and try my luck, see if I can hunt something. I pointed at the bowl on the table, then left with a smile. I felt that Lin Wanner had a sweet tongue and was rather quick-witted. With 2 more lovely sights in the house, life from now on wouldn't be dull. However, the top priority now was filling 3 mouths. Usually, I only needed to hunt 1 pheasant a day, but from now on I'd have to add 1 more. There's no rice left either. I'll have to hunt 2 more and take them to the village entrance to trade for some. Thinking this, I picked up my homemade dagger, grabbed the rope in the corner, and walked out of the yard. These were all the tools I had. I couldn't afford a gun. In the early 80s, guns hadn't yet been banned on a large scale, and if you had some money, you could buy one. It wasn't until the mid to late 80s that the country began a comprehensive gun ban. Sister, he's gone, let's eat quickly. Watching my back disappear into the night, the fear in Lin Xiaoqing's eyes vanished. She quickly came to the table and picked up the covered bowl. And when she saw there was half a chicken inside, her eyes lit up. They hadn't eaten for 2 days. This chicken was a delicacy from land and sea. Don't touch it. Wait for Brother Yu to come back so we can eat together. This is his dinner. Lin Wanner grabbed Lin Xiaoqing's hand. Looking at the chicken in the bowl, her stomach growled. She wanted to eat too, very much. But she couldn't eat now. Although I said they could eat, from now on the 3 of them would be living together. They couldn't be too selfish. If they made me unhappy and got kicked out, no one in the village would take them in anymore. He already said it was for us. Besides, didn't he go out hunting? It's no big deal. Lin Xiaoqing couldn't care about all that. She picked up a chicken wing and stuffed it into her mouth. She felt as if she had never eaten such delicious chicken before. The fragrance of the meat filled her entire mouth. Her whole body seemed to float. Sis, you eat too, it's so good. Only after finishing 1 chicken wing did Lin Xiaoqing hand a drumstick to Lin Wanner, then continue eating the rest. Lin Wanner smiled without speaking, took the drumstick, and put it in the bowl. She sucked the grease from her fingers and looked out the door, waiting for me to return. At the same time, I had already entered the mountains. Hunting at night was very dangerous. The identities of hunter and prey could switch at any moment. Mountain dogs and black bears often roamed deep in the mountains. Sometimes you could even see the mountain god. Fierce beasts living in these mountain ranges were nothing like ordinary animals. They were extremely ferocious, and their sense of smell was keen too. Tap, tap, tap. I stepped into a mud pit, reached down to scoop up mud, and smeared it over my body. As a special mercenary, wilderness survival skills were child's play. Mud could mask my scent and also protect me from insect bites at night. I'll check spot number 1 first. Maybe the trap worked. I slowly walked toward one of the traps I had previously buried, my eyes cautiously scanning the surroundings. Yesterday, I had already set several hanging snare traps for hunting, basically rope traps. There were lots of pheasants and rabbits around here, so with luck I could catch some. Pheasant feathers and rabbit fur could both be taken to the village entrance to trade for money or rice, which counted as a small source of income. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Just as I reached the trap I had set, I heard a rabbit's cry. My face lit up with joy. Looking up, I saw that 10 meters away beside the grass, a wild rabbit with brown fur was struggling. The vine had tightly cinched around the rabbit's hind leg, preventing it from escaping. At least 3 gene. A 3-gene wild rabbit can serve as rations for at least 4 days. Rabbit meat can't be eaten all the time. It depletes the body's fat and water. Even when food is scarce, you can't overeat. Smack. I walked over, grabbed the rabbit by both legs, and raised my right hand to strike hard at its ears. The wild rabbit stopped moving and died just like that. The rabbit's ears are connected to nerves and blood vessels, making them very fragile. A hard enough blow can be fatal. That should be enough. I'll head back first and come again tomorrow. Having caught prey, I prepared to go home. Night isn't suitable for staying outside too long. I could only rely on the faint moonlight to see my surroundings, and I didn't dare use a light or start a fire. It would be bad if I attracted mountain dogs or black bears. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Suddenly, just as I was about to leave, a sound came from the distant grass. My nerves instantly tightened as I looked up. 2 pairs of beastly eyes glowing green were slowly drawing near. Their gaze, hungry yet wary, was fixed intently on the prey before them. Mountain dogs, and more than one. If you encounter mountain dogs in the wild, remember never to run. Running will trigger their instinct to chase. Most importantly, a 2-legged upright creature can't outrun a 4-legged one. Stay calm. I slowly backed away, turning my head slightly to avoid direct eye contact with the mountain dogs. I observed the situation ahead out of the corner of my eye. If I stared directly at them, it might be seen as provocation. Gur. The mountain dogs let out low snarls. They sensed that the prey before them was different from usual. A faint threat was emanating from me. I kept my right hand behind my back, gripping the dagger tightly in my hand. I stood up straight and spread my arms, making myself look as broad as possible. That would make me appear powerful. Mountain dogs have some intelligence, but not much, and I could intimidate them. Gur. The mountain dogs lowered their forelegs and stopped advancing, clearly sensing something was off. They felt that the prey before them had suddenly become stronger. But the temptation of food was simply too great. Having gone a long time without eating, they still couldn't hold back. Whoosh whoosh. Saliva dripped from the mouths of the two mountain dogs. After hesitating, they charged out quickly. My eyes sharpened, and I reacted at once, diving to the side and narrowly avoiding the attack of one mountain dog. The other one leaped up from the ground, baring its fangs as it lunged viciously for my throat. Poochie. Blood splattered everywhere. The dagger plunged precisely into the mountain dog's neck, and my face was instantly covered in the stinking blood of the beast. With my abilities, dealing with two mountain dogs wasn't difficult. I'd even run into a whole pack before while carrying out missions. I could still fight and retreat at the same time with a cold weapon in hand. Whine whine. The stabbed mountain dog struggled desperately, blood gushing out in gulps, and before long it stopped moving. I gave a hard shove, threw the corpse aside, then bent low in vigilance. I gripped the dagger handle in a reverse grip, taking the opening stance of a capture knife technique. This knife style is extremely practical, and when I was a mercenary, I don't know how many people I killed with it. Come on, beast, let's have some fun. Seeing that the mountain dog only growled low and didn't dare come forward. Those green glowing beast eyes looked at its companion's corpse on the ground with fear. In the end, the mountain dog let out a low whine, tucked its tail, and fled. Phew, I let out a deep breath, and my taut nerves finally relaxed. When fighting mountain dogs head-on, you must be completely focused. Even the slightest carelessness can pose a huge threat, but the rewards are plentiful too. It should be about 70 gene, enough for 3 people to eat for half a month. My face lit up with joy as I skinned the dead mountain dog and let it bleed. If I didn't do that, before long, the meat will spoil and stink, and then it won't be edible. Hang the entrails on the tree. These are offerings to the mountain god, and they also help prevent other prey from showing up and chasing after the scent. After finishing all that, I slung the remaining mountain dog meat over my shoulder and quickly left. Mountain dogs are pack animals, and it would be dangerous if the one that escaped brought back its companions. In the room, Lin Wanner was crouching by the earthen stove, heating water. She looked around at this new home. Though simple, it could keep out the rain and wind. I went out hunting, and when I come back, I'll definitely be exhausted. If I can soak my feet in hot water, I'll surely sleep soundly. She and her younger sister were living under someone else's roof, so they had to think about these things. People always become sensible and mature at some point. Especially after Dad died. She had to take on the responsibility of caring for her younger sister. Sis, do you think he'll make us do that tonight? If he dares touch us, just watch me teach him a lesson. Lin Xiaoqing was lying on the table, already full, with a look of lingering satisfaction on her face. Although I'm willing to take care of them, that doesn't mean they can be dealt with however they want. If he tries to force himself on us, her mouth won't show any mercy. I don't know either. Judging by how he looks, he doesn't seem to like us very much. If Uncle Zhong hadn't insisted, he wouldn't even have been willing to take us in. Lin Wanner tucked back a strand of hair with her finger. Her sallow face did not look any less attractive in the firelight. She only needs better nutrition, and she'd definitely be village beauty material. But my attitude toward her wasn't very warm, which made her unable to figure me out. She knew her little sister's temper was somewhat rash. You couldn't tell when she was starving before. But once she's full, she's definitely not someone to be taken lightly. If I come back from hunting and choose her, little sis will definitely get angry. Xiaoqing, now we have a home. When you lose something, you gain something. If he comes back and makes me do that, you must be sensible. I don't care. If he dares, I'll make sure he can never have children. Lin Xiaoqing nodded secretly, her gaze firm. Her sister had a gentle nature, so she had to take on the responsibility of protecting her. Sigh. Lin Wanner let out a helpless sigh. She had no way to persuade her little sister. It seemed that from now on, washing clothes, cooking, making the bed, she would have to rush to do all these chores. She couldn't let me feel that they were freeloading. Tap, tap, tap. Just then, heavy footsteps came from outside the door. Lin Wanner's face lit up with joy, knowing that I had returned from hunting. She ran to the door, and the moment she opened it, she let out a scream. Ah, a ghost. My face was covered in dried blood, and a wolf's head was drooping over my forehead. Its sharp fangs glinted in the dim light. I really did look like a ghost. It's me. I bared my white teeth and tossed the prey I had caught into the corner. I wiped the grime from my face and revealed a smile. A wolf and a wild rabbit. Tonight's luck was pretty good. Wow, this is a wolf. And a rabbit too. Lin Xiaoqing stared wide-eyed at the prey on the ground, finding it hard to believe. That was a wolf. Without a gun, Even a strong adult wouldn't dare hunt one. But I brought it back with my bare hands. How on earth did I kill it? Sorry, I didn't recognize you just now. Lin Wanner stood up in a fluster like a child who had done something wrong, apologizing again and again. She looked at the wolf on the ground, both shocked and delighted. This should be enough for the three of us to eat for half a month, right? Oh, you've already boiled the water, huh? Knew I'd get covered in blood? I looked at the steaming pot and directly took off my shirt and pants. But the next moment I realized there were still 2 girls in the house. Ah, you're so shameless. Put your pants back on. Lin Xiaoqing covered her face with both hands, not daring to look, yet secretly tilted her head to peek through her fingers. She thought my body looked so strong. Those solid muscles made her want to touch them. No wonder I could kill a wolf. From now on, they'll never go hungry again. She and her sister were finally going to live a life with enough food and warmth. Just leave the clothes there. I'll wash them later. Xiaoqing was so hungry, she ate more than half of the chicken. I saved you a chicken drumstick in the bowl. Lin Wanner blushed faintly, walked up to me shyly, and took the dirty clothes from my hands. Her gaze inadvertently lingered on my strong body, and her breathing grew a little heavier. This was her first time seeing a man's body. It really was different from a woman's. It's fine. You eat first. I'll make it again after I finish washing. I scratched my head awkwardly, then went to the corner and brought over a plastic bucket. After filling it halfway with hot water, I went outside. I still kind of missed the old bathroom heater and bathtub. But this was the 80s, and people usually bathed outside after mixing the water to a warm temperature. Xiaoqing, wash the clothes. I'll go help brother you scrub his back. Lin Wanner gave an instruction, then took small steps as she prepared to leave the room. But when she tried to pull the door, she realized it was locked from the outside. She looked through the crack in the door at the robust body and smiled with pursed lips. I'm a good person, really, different from other men. Splash. Whoosh. I picked up the water ladle and poured it over my head, the warm water washing over the dried blood on my face. I noticed the door behind me being tugged, but I ignored it. Having 2 girls in the house really was inconvenient, but I'm not that kind of casual person. Feelings are something that need to be cultivated slowly, and I'm the slow-to-warm-up type too. Lin Wanner said she was willing to become my wife because she had nowhere else to go, not because she truly meant it. Sister, so this is what a wolf looks like. These teeth are so pointy. Lin Xiaoqing squatted down curiously, using her finger to poke at the severed wolf head. She stared at those hollow beast eyes with a bit of fear, but even more curiosity. Since childhood, she had only heard about wolves from the elders. Today was her first time actually seeing one. Brother you, this skinning skill of yours is even better than some old masters. Lin Wanner stood to one side waiting for me to cut up the wolf meat. When she saw sweat dripping from my forehead, she immediately reached out to wipe it for me. She didn't know how to do this kind of rough work and could only help with small things. It's fine, you should rest. I'll be done in a bit. I turned my head and gave her a smile, then set the entire skinned wolf hide aside. In the 80s, the most valuable thing on a wolf was its pelt. But that also depended on the quality. A good wolf pelt could sell to the supply and marketing cooperative or the purchasing station at the village entrance for as much as 50 yuan. The average monthly wage for an urban worker's family was about 30 to 50 yuan, while in the countryside, income came from farm labor, with monthly earnings of 15 to 40 yuan. Tomorrow, once I take this wolf pelt to the purchasing station at the village entrance and sell it, it'll be worth 1.5 months' wages for the villagers. I really struck it rich. As for wolf meat, though, very few people buy it, as low as 0.2 to 0.3 yuan per gene, and only if there's demand can it sell for 1 yuan per gene. Why? Because wolves are carnivores, their muscle fibers are thick and tough, and the meat is coarse, with a strong gamey stench and very little fat. It's dry and tough in the mouth, like chewing on a dead, dried branch. But today, just having something to eat was already good enough. No one would be picky about whether it tasted bad or not. There should be more than 30 gene of meat cut off this wolf. Making it into jerky for rations wouldn't be bad. I finished cutting up all the wolf meat and threw the bones aside. As for the rabbit, I wasn't planning to eat it tonight. After finishing all that, I set a pot of water to boil, getting ready to fill my stomach. Then my gaze shifted, and I saw there was still a chicken drumstick in the bowl on the table. Thinking that Lin Wanner hadn't eaten either, I cut off some extra wolf meat to boil. Make all of it into rations. What a waste. Lin Xiaoqing licked her lips as she watched the wolf meat go into the pot. Even after eating half a chicken, she still wasn't full. After all, she'd been hungry for 2 whole days. You don't know? This meat doesn't taste good. It has to be made into jerky, I explained with a smile, then went to the corner to get some firewood and lit it, starting to boil the meat. Half an hour later, the whole room was filled with the aroma of meat. Cooking wolf meat was somewhat troublesome. You had to get rid of the gamey smell first, which wasted quite a bit of time. Lin Warner sniffed the air, and her stomach rumbled uncooperatively. You should eat the chicken leg on the table first, just to tide yourself over. I shook my head helplessly. I felt that Lin Warner was too sensible, and a bit distant as well. For a little girl to endure hunger without saying a word, that personality was a bit stubborn too. It's fine, I'll wait and eat with you. Lin Warner shook her head in refusal, her two little hands tightly covering her stomach. Her eyes fixed on the pot the whole time. The moment she saw me scoop the meat out, she quickly brought over a bowl to catch it. With the steaming hot meat set on the table, all three of us unconsciously swallowed. Eat, you must be hungry. I picked up my chopsticks and tore off a piece of wolf meat. After putting it in my mouth, the corner of my lips twitched slightly. Sure enough, wolf meat didn't taste good, but at least it could fill the stomach, so there was no point being picky. The two little ones, on the other hand, were eating with great delight. So hot. The scalding wolf meat rolled around in Lin Xiaoqing's mouth, but she couldn't bear to spit it out. She could only keep blowing hot air from her mouth and fanning it with her hand to cool it down. After finally swallowing the meat in her mouth, her expression became rather intriguing. What's wrong? Why did you stop after one bite? Lin Warner chewed in small bites and, after realizing the wolf meat didn't taste good, spoke with a smile. You two eat. I'm full. Lin Xiaoqing put down her chopsticks and grinned, her gaze turning again to the untouched chicken leg on the table. But the next moment, she saw her sister pick up the chicken leg and hand it to me. Thanks. I took the chicken leg and tore into it in big bites, quickly finishing all the meat on the table. Lin Warner took care of the cleanup, while I patted my belly and walked into the inner room. The house I lived in wasn't big, just 2 rooms, and there was only one place to sleep. Now there were 2 more people, and they were girls, so I had to think about how to arrange things. Sis, you don't think he'll make us sleep with him, do you? Lin Xiaoqing turned to look toward the inner room, hearing the sound of bedding being arranged coming from inside. She felt a little scared. I was someone who could hunt a wolf with my bare hands. Even if she resisted, it would be useless. I could lift her up with just one hand. What else can we do? There's only one bed here. If we don't sleep there, where can we sleep? It's so cold outside too. After I went out, Lin Warner had already familiarized herself with the place. The whole bed was fairly big. If the 3 of us squeezed together, we could sleep on it. Winter was just around the corner. Even without the wind blowing outside, it was enough to make people shiver, let alone sleeping in the woodshed. Just as the 2 little ones were feeling uneasy, I came out of the inner room. I noticed the 2 pairs of eyes looking over at me at the same time, and immediately guessed what they were thinking. You 2 will sleep inside from now on. I'll sleep outside. Outside. Lin Warner and Lin Xiaoqing exchanged a glance, then looked around. Aside from 1 table and 2 stools, where was there any bed out here? Could it be that I was going to sleep on the floor just to make room for them? How could that do? No, you can't sleep outside. You'll ruin your health from the cold. Lin Warner shook her hands and disagreed. She wanted to directly say that the 3 of them could sleep together, but the words reached her lips, and she still couldn't say them. It's okay, I'll add more firewood later. It'll be fine to get through one night. I walked over to the stove and brought some dry grass to spread on the ground. With the warmth from the firelight, it won't be a problem for me to make do for one night. Back when I was a mercenary carrying out missions, I had encountered even tougher situations. Sleeping in beast caves and in trees was a common thing. Sister, then let's sleep inside. Lin Xiaoqing finally let out a huge sigh of relief in her heart. She had even been afraid I would suggest sleeping together. But at this moment, the fear in her heart gradually faded. I really am such a good person. No, don't forget we were taken in. Lin Warner glared at her little sister, feeling that they shouldn't do that. She took a deep breath, and her cheeks turned pink under the glow of the fire. After mustering up her courage, she said to me, who was sitting on the ground preparing to lie down, How about we sleep together? Her voice gradually grew quieter, and by the end it was about as soft as a mosquito's buzz. Although I didn't hear all of it clearly, I knew what Lin Warner meant. In this era, a girl's reputation was very important. If she slept with a man before getting married, if word got out and people found out, she would be cursed for having no shame. This was a very serious stain. It would affect her future marriage prospects. I promised my uncle I'd take good care of you. Don't overthink anything else. If I tell you to go, then go. I deliberately spoke with a stern face. I knew that if I didn't say it like this on purpose, Lin Warner would never go sleep in the inner room. But even so, Lin Warner still didn't move. In the end, I directly frowned and said unhappily, If you won't listen, then get out. I don't like people going against me. Hearing this, Lin Xiaoqing's expression changed at once. She and her sister had only just been taken in and had just eaten a full meal. They didn't want to go back to freezing and starving. Sis, since he already said that, let's hurry inside. Lin Wanner was pulled into the inner room by her little sister, and a crystal-clear tear slid from the corner of her eye. She looked at me lying on the grass through a gap in the curtain, feeling deeply moved and grateful. This was the second person to treat her so well since her father passed away. Little sister, we're very lucky to have met such a very, very good person. From now on, you need to be more sensible, and don't go upsetting brother Yu. Got it. He is very nice. I won't upset him. Lin Xiaoqing obediently agreed, the corners of her mouth unconsciously lifting into a smile. Dawn had just broken when a rooster's crow tore open the night. I stood in the courtyard bare-chested, drenched in sweat as I did my morning exercises. This was my habit, to keep a strong physique at all times, which was also good for hunting. In the 80s, the body was the capital of revolution, and no one could bear to make a trip to the hospital if they got sick. My current situation also doesn't allow me to fall ill. After finishing the last set of training, I wiped off my upper body. Today I'm going to the river by the village to catch fish. The two little ones were very weak, their faces sallow beyond belief, and their beauty was completely unable to show. They weren't pleasing to look at either. There are crucian carp in the river, and this stuff is a great tonic when used to make soup. Especially the wild ones. Their nutritional value is as high as a triple-story building. Carrying the homemade fish spear, I swung it onto my shoulder and leisurely headed toward the riverbank. Fu Gui, make a move already. You've been holding that fish spear up forever and still not doing anything. Are you standing there feeding the fish? At the riverbank, as soon as I got there, I saw quite a few people from the village holding fish spears and catching fish. It's just that in weather this cold, few people were willing to get into the water. Most stood at the edge feeling around among the stones, hoping that if they were lucky they could catch a few little shrimp and crabs. Why are you rushing me, woman? This water is so freezing my balls have shrunk, and my hands won't obey me. Wang Fugui, standing in the middle of the river, was trembling non-stop, the fish spear shaking in his hands, and completely unusable. Standing with both feet in the flowing water felt like stepping into an ice pit. It only got a little better around noon, but by then the fish wouldn't come out anymore. Uncle Fugui, how many have you caught? I walked to the riverside with a smile and greeted him, then bent down to take off my shoes and briskly rolled up my pant legs, getting ready to wade in. Wang Fugui and I were distantly related. In village life in the 80s, relatives being connected through more relatives was a common thing. Xiaoya, don't come down. This water is freezing. You young folks can't handle the cold. When Wang Fugui heard someone call him, he looked up and saw it was me, and immediately smiled as he warned me. But the next second, he saw my legs moving like rattle drums. And in just a few steps I reached the coldest part in the middle of the river and stood before him. Young people really do run hot, being able to withstand such icy water. Wang Fugui looked on with envy. When he was young, he had been just as vigorous and full of life. Too bad after getting married. His body got worse with each passing day. Uncle, that's not how you catch fish. You have to look at them from an angle. Under the light, fish appear at an angle, so you can't spear straight at them. I watched Wang Fugui suddenly jerk and stab the fish spear into the river, but when he lifted it back up, there was nothing on it. I knew the method was wrong. Catching fish takes skill. You have to understand the principle of optical refraction. But only knowledgeable people with fishing experience understand that. How would someone who doesn't fish often know all that? Xiaoya, it's not that I want to say this, but Uncle Wang has eaten more salt than you've eaten rice. How could I not know how to spear fish? Wang Fugui was a little unconvinced. Being taught by a junior how to catch fish made him lose face, especially with so many people watching nearby. All right, you carry on. After you spear a fish, teach me how to do it. I didn't argue. Smiling, I walked 3 meters away, then raised my fish spear, bent slightly at the waist, and looked into the river at an angle at the fish swimming by. It wasn't winter yet, and the river surface hadn't frozen over, so catching fish was a bit easier. Once the river froze, the only way to catch fish would be with a fishing rod, and that would take a lot more time. At that moment, a palm-sized fish swished its nimble tail as it swam past in the river. I didn't rush. After finding the right angle, I fixed my gaze on it. I waited until the fish turned and swam toward me, then struck decisively. In my hand, the fish spear was as fast as an arrow loosed from the bow, splashing water as it plunged into the river. Hit! I felt the fish spear shaking, and when I lifted it, I saw a crucian carp pinned on it. The fish was as wide as a palm and weighed an estimated 100 grams. Xiaoya, your luck is really good. A blind cat really did bump into a dead mouse. When Wang Fuguei saw me catch a fish the moment I made a move, surprise flashed across his face before he quickly suppressed it. It's been half an hour, and after more than a dozen thrusts, there's not even a hair to show for it. Meanwhile, those legs of his were so cold they were almost unbearable. Uncle, do you believe me now? The corners of my mouth curled up, my eyes full of pride. Seeing this, Wang Fuguei's competitive spirit suddenly flared up, and he said unwillingly, "How about we make a bet and see who catches more?" Isn't that a bad idea? I wore a teasing expression. Competing with me at catching fish was basically having goods delivered right to my door. With my hand speed and experience, I could hold my own even against a professional fishing expert. A man can't say he can't do it. Do you dare or not? Wang Fuguei's lips curled upward. He felt that I had only gotten lucky, and that the kid himself knew he didn't dare to bet. In his mind, there was no way I would agree, and that would let him recover the face he had just lost. That's right. A man can't say he can't do it. If we're competing, then let's compete. I agreed at once, suppressing the smile at the corner of my mouth. I took the fish off the spear and put it into my pocket. 3 fish are enough to nourish the 2 little ones. If we catch too many, we can't carry them anyway. Uncle's fish basket has crabs and shrimp in it. If stewed together with crucian carp, the taste, deliciously fresh. Okay. If you lose, you give me the fish you catch. If I lose, I'll give you today's catch. Wang Fuguei looked surprised, not expecting Zhong Yue to actually agree, and he immediately agreed as well. Sure enough, young people can't keep their cool. Just a little provocation and they act impulsively. He refused to believe Zhong Yue's luck could stay this good forever. Could he really be worse than a rookie? That crucian carp just now looked pretty good. Looks like we're in for a treat today. All right, it's settled then, and everyone here heard it. Zhong Yue looked at the gazes cast over by the others around him, not worried that Wang Fuguei would go back on his word in front of so many people. For men, it's all about pride. You can't say you can't do it. You don't think I'd actually cheat you, do you? Your uncle here is absolutely honest and reliable. Wang Fuguei lifted his chin and patted his chest as he promised. When he saw several women better looking than his wife glancing over, the smile on his face grew even brighter. It seemed even the cold in his feet had eased quite a bit. The competition began, and both Zhong Yue and Wang Fuguei's expressions changed, becoming serious. The two stared fixedly at the flowing river, and the moment they saw fish swim by, they struck decisively. But unfortunately, no matter how Wang Fuguei jabbed with the fish spear, the fish seemed to have alarms installed on them. They just wouldn't get hit. Several times they even swam right around the gaps in the spear, making him furious. "Uncle, I got another one. Those shrimp in your fish basket are about to be mine." Zhong Yue pulled the fish off the spear in one motion. In less than 10 minutes, he had already caught 5 crucian carp in a row, each about 2 liang in size. At that speed, even the onlookers were stunned. Zhong Yue's amazing. This fishing method is incredible. Every strike is a hit. Of course, he learned hunting from old Qi, and he really picked up the essentials of the skill. Just look at how dark old Wang's face has turned. All the excitement from earlier is completely gone. I bet he'll get beaten when he gets back today. Quite a few of the spectators were covering their mouths and snickering. And at this moment Wang Fuguei's wife was gritting her teeth, ready to lose her temper. If this keeps up, all today's fish catching will have been for nothing. We'll definitely go hungry when we get back. You. Uncle admits defeat. All right, can I just give you half the shrimp? Wang Fuguei's face was scrunched up like a bitter melon, his lips trembling, with none of the imposing air from before. Even if he kept competing, he still couldn't beat Zhong Yue. Just from what he could see the kid had caught, there were at least no fewer than 15 fish. Even the fish tails were sticking out of his pants pocket. I really do have a loose tongue. Things were going fine spearing fish, so why did I make a bet? Uncle, didn't you say men can't say they can't do it? Zhong Yue chuckled, and after seeing Wang Fuguei's darkened face, he had no intention of dragging it on and directly won this match. As for Uncle's catch, since he surrendered and admitted defeat, he'd take half. You're still the better one. Uncle learned something today. I'll use your method for catching fish from now on. Wang Fuguei reluctantly took out half of the shrimp and crabs he had worked so hard to catch, admitting aloud that Zhong Yue's fishing method worked. Thanks. Zhong Yue accepted them with satisfaction, then quickly ran ashore. He had been out for less than half an hour and had already caught more than a dozen crucian carp weighing 2 liang each, plus 3 big crabs and more than a dozen small river shrimp. After going back, the 2 little ones would be in for a treat. Sis, why are you awake so early? Where is he? Lin Xiaoqing rubbed her sleepy eyes and walked out from the inner room, but Zhong Yue was nowhere to be seen. Only her older sister was busy boiling water. She walked over to the stove and craned her neck to look inside. When she saw it was wolf meat, her expression turned bitter. If there was nothing to eat, no matter how bad wolf meat tasted, she could still eat it. But after having eaten chicken and with rabbit meat, she still hadn't tried right there beside it. She no longer wanted to eat that dry, stringy wolf meat that got stuck in her teeth. I didn't see Brother Yu when I came out, and he's not outside either. Lin Wanner added some dry firewood, then turned back and glared at her little sister's expression. You have been picky about food ever since you were little. You get choosy after just one full meal. Have you forgotten the times we went hungry? I didn't say I wouldn't eat it. Lin Xiaoqing stuck out her pink tongue playfully, and just as she was about to help, she heard the door being pushed open. Zhong Yue walked in with a smile and placed the fish he had caught on the table. When she saw the river shrimp flopping on the table and the crabs that had fallen onto the floor, Lin Xiaoqing's mouth opened into an O shape. They had eaten chicken and wolf meat only yesterday, and this morning it had already changed to river fresh. This is even better than when Dad was around. How is Zhong Yue so amazing? Brother Yu teach. These were all caught by you. Did you go into the river? Lin Wanner's first reaction on seeing the catch was not happiness, but a face full of worry and concern. In this weather, very few people would dare go into the river. That icy water felt like needles piercing your bones. Zhong Yue had gone to the riverside early in the morning to catch fish. He probably hadn't even slept well last night. It's fine. That river water can't freeze me. Seeing the tears glistening at the corners of Lin Wanner's eyes, Zhong Yue touched his head, somewhat at a loss. Being cared about felt very warm. Much better than when he used to be a mercenary. In those days of living amid a hail of bullets, he could die on a mission at any time, but no one cared whether his body was well or not. All that was required was that the mission be completed on time. Sis, let's not eat that wolf meat. Let's eat this fish instead, okay? Lin Xiaoqing held a crucian carp in her hands, her eyes pleading. There was no need for her to ask Zhong Yue. This fish was probably caught especially for them. She was just afraid her sister wouldn't agree. No, this was caught through Brother Yu's hard work. You can't eat it. We have to leave it for Brother Yu. Lin Wanner put her hands on her hips and refused, then in the next instant looked at Zhong Yue with heartache. His pant legs weren't wet, which meant he had taken off his shoes and gone into the river barefoot. River shrimp and crabs could be caught by the riverbank, but crucian carp were hard to catch. You had to stand in the middle of the river and wait. In weather this cold, only those who had experienced it knew what that felt like. It's fine, I caught them for you. Just cook them in a while. There's still a little rice left in the jar, so we can make it together. Zhong Yue felt that Lin Wanner was very thoughtful, always thinking only of him. Unlike Lin Xiaoqing, this girl had probably long since forgotten what it was like to go hungry. Hee still. You. Lin Xiaoqing beamed with joy, stopping before she could say the word brother. She remembered that when they came yesterday, her sister was supposed to become Zhong Yue's wife, so calling him brother didn't seem quite appropriate. After thinking about it, she wrapped herself around Zhong Yue's arm and said coquettishly, "Thanks, brother-in-law. Brother-in-law, you're amazing, you're so nice." A warm softness pressed against his arm, and it felt as if it were being pinched by cotton candy. Lin Xiaoqing looked very young, but she was well developed, with curves where there should be curves. Together with her obedient, soft tone, it made his mind waver for a moment. You? Hearing the title brother-in-law, Lin Wanner lowered her head shyly, her neck visibly turning red. She didn't scold her little sister for talking nonsense. Instead, she was thinking about what Zhong Yue thought in his heart. Was he planning to accept her? Otherwise, why would he be so thoughtful as to go into the river early in the morning to catch fish? Isn't there meat at home? Ahem. Zhong Yue coughed awkwardly, breaking the ambiguous atmosphere. Somewhat reluctantly, he pulled his arm out of Lin Xiaoqing's embrace and said with a smile, "I'll go to the village entrance first to sell the wolf pelt, then buy some rice on the way back. Okay, we'll cook and wait for you." Lin Wanner nodded obediently, her eyes fixed reluctantly on his departing figure. "Sis, stop looking. There'll be plenty of time in the future. Brother-in-law is so capable, catching so many fish." Lin Xiaoqing tossed a few shrimp into the pot. Things caught from the river like these don't need washing at all. Just boil them and they're ready to eat. At most add a little salt for seasoning. Little sister, looks like you really took my words to heart. Lin Wanner felt very gratified by what her little sister had just said. After simply cleaning the crucian carp, she put them into the pot to boil as well. Soon the fresh aroma wafted out, making her mouth water with hunger. Even when Dad was around, we never ate things this good. I didn't expect to be eating it now. Of course I have to listen to my sister. But now I can listen to brother-in-law too. Lin Xiaoqing chuckled and leaned close to Lin Wanner's ear, whispering, "Sis, do you think you should sleep with brother-in-law tonight?" Hearing this, Lin Wanner's face instantly turned bright red, like a blooming peony. She said shyly, "That depends on whether brother you agrees." At this moment, Zhong Yue arrived at the village entrance with the wolf pelt. In the whole village, only the purchasing station bought pelts and things like wild animals, and it also sold some household goods. The owner was the village party secretary's nephew, mainly responsible for coordinating with the county supply and marketing cooperative. There was plenty of profit to be skimmed from it, earning the price difference, and without connections, there was no point even thinking about it. "Boss, do you buy wolf pelts?" Pushing open the door, Zhong Yue saw a flat-headed man leaning against the counter, picking his teeth. The air was filled with the aroma of meat, and a bowl of oily soup on the counter was still steaming hot. Seeing someone come in to buy something, Su Chengshu immediately put away the bowl on the counter, afraid people would find out he had been eating meat. He sized up Zhong Yue and asked doubtfully, "You want to sell a wolf pelt?" The visitor was young, and no matter how he looked at him, he didn't seem like a hunter. Zhong Yue took out the wolf pelt and placed it on the counter, waiting for the boss to name a price. He had skinned the wolf very neatly, with hardly any damage, so it could sell for at least 50 yuan. "You got this yourself? It wasn't stolen, was it?" "If it's stolen, I won't buy it." Su Chengshu glanced at the wolf pelt in his hands, his expression becoming even more suspicious. He simply couldn't believe the person in front of him could have taken down a wild dog. "I got it myself. Go ahead and buy it without worry. If the price is good, I'll sell to you from now on." Zhong Yue knew that few people came to the purchasing station at the village entrance. And these days most people could barely fill their stomachs, so who still had money to buy things? Only those who hunted in the mountains could come sell pelts. But in the whole Qianshan village, there were only a handful of people who could hunt. If he hadn't transmigrated here with a full set of wilderness survival skills, he might well have ended up hungry and freezing. How could he have taken in those two little ones? "I was just asking, don't overthink it." Hearing that he was a long-term customer, Su Chengshu's expression changed at once, and his eyes flickered. He had only asked casually, worried this person might have stolen it from the village and caused trouble later. Wolf pelts are hard to sell. These days people can barely get enough to eat, so not many like this sort of thing. "How about this? I'll offer 20 yuan. Hearing that, Zhong Yue let out a sneer, picked up the wolf pelt from the counter, and prepared to leave. He just found it troublesome and didn't want to go all the way to the county more than 10 li away to sell it to the supply and marketing cooperative. But he hadn't expected the village purchasing station to be so black-hearted, clearly trying to butcher him just because he was young. "Don't be in such a hurry. I name a price, and you can bargain." Su Chengshu hadn't expected the other party to be so decisive, not even saying a word before turning around to leave. He hurried out to stop him. This wolf pelt could sell for a good price. The fur wasn't damaged and was very intact. If sold to the county supply and marketing cooperative, it could fetch at least 60 yuan. If he found someone who liked furs, even 70 yuan wouldn't be a problem. 50, take it or leave it. Zhong Yue held up 5 fingers, clearly having no intention of bargaining. It was only a dozen kilometers or so anyway. He'd just treat it as light cross-country trekking. Su Chengshu looked at that unreasonable face and knew he'd run into someone who knew the market. This wouldn't be easy to cheat. He calculated the numbers in his head, then finally gritted his teeth and said, "Fine, you know your stuff. 50 it is. Give me 5 jin of white flour and 10 jin of rice. It'd be best if the rest is in coupons. If not, forget it." In the 1980s, coupons were more valuable than money. But coupons were hard to get. Only places like procurement stations had them. Grain coupons and cloth coupons, for example, were very common and were used to buy staple foods. And daily necessities would be much cheaper. Especially for scarce goods like televisions and bicycles, you also needed industrial coupons. For this stuff, even an ordinary worker would have to save up coupons for several years before being able to buy one. "Here, take it. White flour and indica rice are both 20 cents per jin, 3 yuan in total. I don't have any coupons here, but if you want them, you can wait until next time." Su Chengshu put a stack of money on the counter, then took away the wolf pelt. He was actually lying. He did have coupons, but he didn't want to take them out. This stuff was scarce, and even with money you couldn't necessarily exchange for it. "All right, keep it in mind for me." Zhong Yue counted the money. The amount was correct, 47 yuan in total, equivalent to 1.5 months' wages for the villagers. If there were no coupons, then so be it. He had originally planned to get some cloth coupons to make 2 thick sets of clothes for the 2 little ones. Winter was coming, and they couldn't do without thick clothes or they'd freeze. Take care, come again next time. Su Chengshu watched the door close, then immediately beamed as he took out the wolf pelt. Once he went to the county supply and marketing cooperative tomorrow, he could make 10 yuan, 20 yuan in profit just by reselling it. This business was simply too easy. As soon as he got home, Zhong Yue pushed open the door and smelled a rich, savory aroma. The two little ones were sitting at the table waiting, and he walked over with a smile and said, "The wolf pelt sold for some money, so I bought some white flour and rice." "Wow, white flour. Sis, it's white flour." As soon as Lin Xiaoqing heard, "white flour," she sprang to her feet, her eyes sparkling like stars. How long had it been since she'd eaten white flour? She was almost forgetting the taste. "Brother Yu, white flour is very expensive. You didn't have to waste money on us," Lin Wanner said with a smile all over her face, bringing over a bowl of cooked river delicacy porridge. Neither she nor her little sister had taken a single bite. They were waiting for Zhong Yue to come back and have the first mouthful. "It's fine. Spend when it's time to spend. I promised Uncle I'd take good care of you." Zhong Yue blew on the rim of the bowl and took a slurping taste. The flavor was extremely fresh and delicious. High-end ingredients often require only the simplest cooking methods. That saying was absolutely true. "Sis, brother-in-law has already eaten. Let's eat too." Lin Xiaoqing had long since run out of patience and ran off to serve herself a bowl too. After wolfing it down, a look of enjoyment appeared on her face, and her skin even turned rosy. She licked even the broth at the bottom of the bowl clean. Just as the three of them were eating the steaming hot river delicacy porridge, footsteps came from outside the door. "Bro, are you there?" A familiar voice came, and Zhong Yue knew who it was as soon as he heard it. Uncle had a son named Zhong Lu, 2 years younger than him, who had always wanted to go into the mountains hunting with him. "Did you follow the smell here?" Zhong Yue opened the door and saw Zhong Lu standing in front of him, holding a thick quilt. The quilt's color was still fairly new. It hadn't just been recarded. "Smells so good. What are you eating?" Tempted by the wafting aroma, Zhong Lu craned his neck to look inside. He had met Lin Wanner and Lin Xiaoqing before. They had stayed at his home for 2 days. And he also knew they had been sent to stay with Zhong Yue. "Come in, you can eat with us." Zhong Yue didn't stand on ceremony and opened the door to let Zhong Lu in. Uncle had treated him very well. Even this place to live was provided by Uncle. "Wow, you're eating porridge, and there's fish and shrimp too." Zhong Lu's eyes lit up as he looked at the porridge in the pot. He remembered he had only eaten half a sweet potato this morning, and he was still hungry. But what was Zhong Yue eating? Porridge made with crucian carp, river shrimp, and crab. Compared with that, it was practically a landlord's life. "What are you holding? Put it down and eat first." Zhong Yue ladled a bowl of porridge and set it on the table, calling Zhong Lu over to sit down. He guessed the comforter was meant for the same reason. His uncle was worried that if someone came to stay, there wouldn't be an extra quilt to sleep with. At first he had planned to make one himself, but it seemed his uncle really had thought things through. It wasn't that he was afraid they'd freeze. It was just that with 2 more people, it wouldn't be convenient. Zhong Lu went into the inner room and put the comforter on the bed, then quickly came back out and sat by the table to start drinking porridge. After that first mouthful, his expression was exactly the same as Lin Xiaoqing's. "Brother, go talk to my dad for me and let me go hunting with you." After finishing a bowl of porridge, Zhong Lu glanced at the pot. He really wanted another bowl, but felt embarrassed. There aren't many people in the whole village who can eat porridge like this. Zhong Yue must be relying on his hunting skills to afford it. If he could learn even a little, his family wouldn't have to live so tightly anymore. "You tell your uncle yourself. I don't dare bring it up." Zhong Yue didn't agree. Just as he stood up to get another bowl of porridge, Lin Wanner beside him took the bowl from his hand. By the time it was brought over again, there was another bowl in front of Zhong Lu as well. "Thanks." Zhong Lu took the bowl with a grin, and after taking a couple of sips, he sighed. "Sigh. I'm the only son in my family. My dad says hunting in the mountains is dangerous and won't let me go." "Then that settles it. You just stay home obediently." Zhong Yue nodded. There was no way he was going to speak to his uncle for that. Hunting in the mountains is too dangerous. He had the skills and wasn't afraid, but Zhong Lu didn't. Taking a clueless young guy hunting. What if they ran into danger and he couldn't react in time? His uncle only has that one son. How would he explain it then? "Fine. Actually, I'm kind of scared of hunting too." Zhong Yue finished the porridge awkwardly. Just as he was about to get up and leave, he was pulled back. "Here, this is the money for the comforter. Take it back and give it to your uncle." Zhong Yue took out 15 yuan and stuffed it into Zhong Lu's hand. A comforter wasn't cheap. Outside, it could sell for over 10 yuan. He had money on him now, so he couldn't let his uncle's family take the loss. "No, My dad said we can't take your money. This was a gift. Zhong Lu stared wide-eyed at the money in his hand. After counting it, there were 15 yuan. 15 yuan. Hunting makes that much money. That's about a month's income for their family. But he couldn't take this money. He'd been warned on the way here. Take it. If you want to learn hunting, take it back. Otherwise, I won't help you. Zhong Yue deliberately threatened him, then pushed Zhong Lu out the door and laughed. If you get hungry later, come here. There's always enough to eat. I've decided. I'll go back and tell my dad straight. Even if it kills me, I'm going to learn hunting from you. Zhong Lu made up his mind in his heart and left, clutching the money tightly. This was a road to making money. He absolutely couldn't miss it. So what if I'm the only son? Keeping him around won't fill my stomach. Night. The three of them finished all the porridge from the day. Zhong Yue found a wooden board in the woodshed and planned to set up a temporary bed in the corner. Sleeping on the floor is still a bit cold. They couldn't keep staying beside the stove forever. Besides, the firewood wouldn't last long, and he'd have to get up at night to add more firewood. Brother Yue, we can squeeze in together. Lin Wanner hugged the comforter, her little face slightly red. She and her younger sister slept on the warm Kong, but Zhong Yue would be sleeping on the cold wooden board. However he thought about it, it didn't sit right with him. Yeah, brother-in-law, it's cold outside, and it's not like there isn't room to sleep. Lin Xiaoqing stood on the Kong and poked her head out, her lively eyes darting around. Unlike her sister, she had no trouble speaking up. It wasn't like they were going to do that anyway. They were just sleeping together. It's fine, isn't there a quilt? It's no big deal. Zhong Yue did not agree. He felt that the reputations of the two girls were very important and must not be ruined by people's careless gossip. Otherwise, how would they get married in the future? Besides, he was a normal, hot-blooded man. With two beautiful girls sleeping beside him at night. What if he made a mistake? What would the two girls think? All right then, if you're cold, you can come in. Lin Wanner felt she had already made herself very clear. If she said any more, she really wouldn't be able to get the words out. She spread the quilt over the wooden board he had set up, then walked into the inner room with a trace of disappointment in her heart. Brother-in-law? Lin Xiaoqing could tell what her sister was thinking. She came out from the inner room and whispered, Brother-in-law, you're not shy, are you? We're not going to do anything. What nonsense are you thinking about? Go to sleep now. Zhong Yue frowned and glared, but when he saw Lin Xiaoqing flee in embarrassment, he smiled again. How could she say something like that right to his face? This girl really had no reservations at all. Hee, brother-in-law, if you get cold, just come in. My sister sleeps on the left, so don't get it wrong. Lin Xiaoqing stuck her head out from the inner room again, covering her mouth and giggling, but was immediately pulled back inside. Then a pleading voice came from inside. Sis, stop hitting me, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said it out loud. Brother-in-law, hurry and come in. In the blink of an eye, the two girls had already been at his home for 10 days. Under Zhong Yue's careful care, the sallow look on their faces had disappeared, replaced by rosy, fair skin. It had to be said that the two of them really were standard beauties, just standing there without moving. They were still two beautiful sights to behold. During this period, Zhong Yue had also grown close to them, and the day before yesterday, he even made a special trip to the county to buy them 2 thick sets of clothes. Winter was almost here, and he couldn't let the two girls freeze. Brother-in-law, do I look good in these clothes? Lin Xiaoqing changed into the new clothes and spun around in place. Her eyebrows curved like crescents. In the past, getting new clothes was only possible during the new year. You look good, but mainly because it's you wearing them. Zhong Yue didn't know the two girls' sizes, so he deliberately bought the clothes a little bigger. Now it seemed they fit just right. Lin Xiaoqing wasn't tall, around 1.5 meters, with 2 little braids resting on her shoulders, lively and cute. She gave off the feeling of the little girl next door. At this moment, Lin Wanner also came out after changing into a beige outfit. She was a bit taller than Lin Xiaoqing, and the clothes were somewhat small. The loose garment was completely stretched up by her good figure. She was absolutely giving off an elegant older sister vibe. This outfit of mine doesn't seem suitable. Lin Wanner's face was red as the sun set, and she shyly tugged at the hem with her little hands. She had just tried it, and as soon as she squatted down, her butt would show, so this outfit wasn't suitable to wear outside. I think it looks pretty good. Brother-in-law is staring in a daze. Lin Xiaoqing chuckled. Seeing that Zhong Yue's eyes had gone straight, it was obvious he was very satisfied. Clothes weren't cheap. 1 outfit cost 10 yuan. 2 outfits together came to 20 yuan. Brother-in-law was really willing to spend money on them. He truly was a good man. What she didn't understand was why he still refused to come in and sleep at night. Ahem, it's pretty good. Zhong Yue touched his nose and awkwardly turned his head away. It had to be said that when it came to figure and looks, Lin Wanner was even more eye-catching. If she were placed 40 years later, she'd definitely be a big star-level beauty. Oh no, someone's coming. Sis, let's hurry and change back. Suddenly, Lin Xiaoqing saw someone walking over from afar and immediately pulled her sister back into the inner room. She didn't want anyone else to see her wearing the new clothes. Only brother-in-law was allowed to see. Bro, Zhong Lu jogged over, looking puzzled at the two who were avoiding him. But he didn't mind. Turning around, he squinted and smiled, saying, "My dad agreed. Are you sure?" Zhong Yu looked over suspiciously. His uncle actually agreed to let Zhong Lu go hunting with him? No way, right? He never agreed before. I'm not lying to you, it's true. Zhong Lu nodded in confirmation, not lying at all. After he went back that day, he brought up going hunting again. At first his dad disagreed and was even about to teach him a lesson. But when he took out 15 yuan, the raised hand hanging in the air stopped. At the thought of being able to hunt with Zhong Yu and make money, being the only son was no longer an obstacle. In the current situation, being able to eat your fill was the most important thing. With Zhong Yu around, as long as they were a little careful and cautious, nothing too serious would happen. Alright then, I just happen to be going up the mountain, so this time you can come with me. Zhong Yu agreed to take Zhong Lu hunting. The money from selling the wolf hide earlier was almost used up, and winter was about to arrive again, so he had to hunt more prey and store it at home. You need to have money on hand to feel secure. You can't just hunt and eat on the spot. Really? When are we leaving? As soon as he heard they were going up the mountain to hunt, Zhong Lu was as excited as a child. He had only heard the elders talk about how there were many wild beasts in the mountains. Mountain dogs, black bears, and wild boars. He still hadn't actually seen any of those things. Tomorrow, I need to make some preparations. Zhong Yu set the time. He had no gun and no money or connections to buy one. But he had other methods. Back when he was carrying out missions in Africa, he learned hunting techniques from the local tribesmen. Alright, I'll go back and tell my dad right away. I'll come over early tomorrow morning. After saying that, Zhong Lu quickly ran off, looking forward to going up the mountain to hunt tomorrow. At this moment, Lin Wanner, who had changed out of her new clothes, walked out. She had just heard that Zhong Yu was going up the mountain to hunt, and said with concern, "The temperature has dropped now, and there's even snow on the mountaintop. You need to be careful out there. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Just wait for me to come back." Zhong Yu nodded in agreement, then got up and went to the woodshed to take out two straight, slender bamboo stalks as thick as a thumb. He had prepared these specially for hunting. In Africa, there is a weapon called a blowgun. This weapon hollows out the inside of slender bamboo, then places a sharp dart into the bottom. By using pressure from the mouth to blow hard at the bottom, the dart can shoot out quickly and hit the prey. It's a very good weapon for hunting pheasants, rabbits, and squirrels. If he ran into mountain dogs, or the like, coating the dart with some numbing juice could also have remarkable effects. This time, he planned to use the blowgun to hunt in the mountains. I'll cook and wait for you to come back. Lin Wanner nodded obediently, just like a married woman already. When she first came, she was afraid she wouldn't be taken in. So she thought about becoming someone else's wife to settle down, but that wasn't what she truly wanted. After spending these past few days together, both she and her younger sister had genuinely come to like Zhong Yu. Zhong Yu was handsome, considerate, and capable. What woman wouldn't like a man like that? But she wasn't sure whom Zhong Yu liked. There was no way both she and her younger sister could marry Zhong Yu, right? Early the next morning, Zhong Yu got everything ready. Just as he picked up the blowgun and slung it over his back, he saw Zhong Lu come running over with a grin, carrying a bamboo basket on his back. The canteen at his waist clinked loudly, and there was also a cloth bag hanging from his chest. "Bro, I'm all ready. I have water, and I have food too. I promise I won't hold you back." Zhong Lu smugly opened the cloth bag, revealing the sweet potatoes inside. He hadn't slept well at all last night. His mind had been full of today's hunting trip. We're not going on a spring outing. Carrying this much stuff is useless. Zhong Yu was quite helpless. There was no need for so many things when going up the mountain to hunt. It wasn't like they were going on a long trip. The place he chose this time wasn't far from the village. They could leave in the morning and be back by evening, without even needing to stay overnight. Then I prepared all this for nothing. Zhong Lu said a little dejectedly. He had even deliberately taken out half the sweet potatoes at home to use as rations. "It's fine, you can carry this water in the basket and leave the rest at home. Take it back when we return." After saying that, Zhong Yu packed up his things, tucked the dagger into his waistband, slung the blowgun over his back, and headed up the mountain. On the way, he told Zhong Lu the rules for going into the mountains. Follow orders in all actions. If he didn't listen, Zhong Yue wouldn't take Zhong Lu up the mountain next time. Brother, don't worry. I'll go wherever you tell me to go and absolutely listen to you. Zhong Lu nodded excitedly, thinking about showing off to the family after bringing back some game. By then, he'd also get to eat steaming hot freshwater porridge. On the mountainside, two figures moved forward bent over, the howling cold wind making their faces sting. The temperature on the mountain was much colder than at the foot of it. Before winter had even officially arrived, snowflakes were already drifting down. The excitement had long disappeared from Zhong Lu's face. If he hadn't begged to come hunting, he would have wanted to go back down the mountain. This was hardly work for humans. They hadn't seen any prey yet, and he was already being tormented badly. Remember, after entering the mountain, you have to learn to observe and stay alert at all times. Zhong Yue led the way in front, his gaze shifting to the ground from time to time. If you wanted to find prey, observation was essential. From tracks and droppings, you could tell whether there was prey nearby and also detect danger in advance. They hadn't gone very deep into the area, so black bears and wild boars rarely appeared. But luck was hard to predict. The roles of hunter and prey could switch in an instant. Brother, look over there. At that moment, Zhong Lu, who was walking behind, had just lifted his head when he saw a pheasant mottled with blackish-brown markings. He pointed in that direction, his expression a little excited. He hadn't eaten pheasant before and didn't know what it tasted like. Whoosh! A sound cutting through the air rang out, and Zhong Yue spotted the pheasant at the same moment. He quickly took the blowgun from his back, loaded a dart, aimed at the target, then inhaled sharply and blew. The dart struck the pheasant like an arrow released from a bow. After being hit, the pheasant fell to the ground and flapped its wings, then stopped moving after a few moments. Brother, you're amazing. What is this thing? Zhong Lu stared wide-eyed, very curious about the bamboo-like object. This is even more convenient than a gun. You can catch a pheasant without making a sound. It's called a blowgun. I'll teach you another time if I get the chance. Zhong Yue looked around, not in a hurry to retrieve the prey. It was now the start of winter, not the pheasant's breeding season, so female birds and subadults would form small groups to forage together. There might be other pheasants nearby. If it were spring, that would be when pheasants scattered and moved alone, since they needed to compete for territory and mates. Brother, aren't we going to pick it up? Zhong Lu looked puzzled. Why not collect the prey after hitting it? What were they waiting here for? But seeing that Zhong Yue didn't reply, he tactfully stopped talking and quietly waited behind him. Whoosh! Another dart shot out from the barrel, and a pheasant had just taken flight when it was hit. Zhong Yue was equally adept at moving targets. Back during Special Forces marksmanship assessments, he had always firmly taken first place in the team. That's all. After observing the surroundings, Zhong Yue didn't spot any more traces of pheasants. He ran over, pulled the dart from the pheasant, then tossed it into Zhong Lu's basket and continued heading up the mountain. Half an hour later, the cold wind on the mountain gradually weakened, but the temperature became even lower. Their clothes were thin, and their arms were trembling a little from the cold. So far they had only caught 2 pheasants and hadn't even seen a rabbit. The haul on this trip wasn't that great. However, hunting in the mountains also depends on luck. You don't encounter prey every time. Bro, do we still have to go? It's so cold. Zhong Lu warmed his hands by breathing on them. He finally understood why people in the village knew hunting made money, but few were willing to go into the mountains. Hunting is too hard, even harder than farming. Since you've decided to come along, then you have to adapt. Money is hard to earn, and game is hard to hunt. Didn't you want to eat white flour? Are you giving up already? Zhong Yue turned back and lectured him a few words, without any contempt. Zhong Lu was younger than him, and the only son in the family, so he probably hadn't suffered much. Before coming into the mountains, he hadn't warned him. He just wanted to see whether Zhong Lu was really suited for hunting. His maternal uncle treated him very well. If Zhong Lu learned to hunt, he could bring considerable income to the family. Bro is right. I want to eat white flour. Dad is still waiting for me to come back with game. Zhong Lu rubbed his hands and breathed on them, his expression turning resolute. He followed Zhong Yue step by step up the mountain, also learning to observe the surroundings. Stop! Suddenly, Zhong Yue, who was walking in front, saw animal tracks on the ground. He crouched down to take a look, and his heart sank. It was a wild wolf's footprint, and fresh droppings just left behind. What's wrong? Did you see a pheasant again? Zhong Lu immediately looked around, but didn't see any sign of a pheasant. Not a pheasant, it's a wild wolf. Zhong Yue picked up the droppings from the ground to feel their temperature, his expression turning alert. The droppings were hot, which meant the wolf was nearby and hadn't gone far. There aren't many footprints, so I don't know how many there are. I don't have a gun. If we run into a wolf pack, it'll be very dangerous. Wild wolf. You're saying there are wild wolves here. Zhong Lu's voice rose sharply, and his expression turned panicked. He had heard from his family that when you run into wolves outside, you have to run, never try to fight them head on. Wolves are pack animals. If they come out, it's a whole pack. Shoo, keep your voice down. Zhong Yue noticed more footprints in the distance, worried that making too much noise would attract the wild wolves. He had already decided not to keep moving forward, but to go back the way they came. If he weren't with Zhong Lu, he could still try, but if something happened to Zhong Lu, it would be no joke. Bro, I'm a little scared. Zhong Lu hunched his neck, subconsciously moving closer to Zhong Yue, his gaze also becoming unfocused. The next moment, he felt a black shadow sweep past on his left. He turned his head, but saw nothing. Suddenly, Zhong Lu felt a chill on his neck. Turning around, he saw a wolf covered in gray fur and bared fangs staring at him. Zhong Lu wanted to warn him, but thinking he couldn't speak loudly, he immediately covered his mouth and tapped Zhong Yue on the shoulder. 2, 3. Zhong Yue also spotted the wild wolves, and his expression became tense. There were 4 wild wolves in total. Judging by their snarling, they were probably out looking for prey. Wild wolves in the early winter are extremely hungry and won't let go once they spot prey. This is trouble. Can you climb trees? Zhong Yue pulled out his dagger and held it in a reverse grip. There happened to be a tree nearby that you could climb, and he told Zhong Lu to climb up and hide. Then he would find a way to deal with the 4 wild wolves. I can. Zhong Lu nodded in panic, then climbed toward the tree beside him. But he was too flustered and failed several times. In the end, he only managed to climb up by stepping on Zhong Yue's leg. Bro, be careful. Zhong Lu looked at the approaching wild wolves with fearful eyes, clinging tightly to the tree trunk and trembling. For, it's just a bit troublesome. Zhong Yue spread his body out. When dealing with wolves, you can't show weakness. You have to make yourself look strong. He slowly loaded the blowpipe dart into the blowgun and aimed at the nearest wild wolf. A woo. With a wolf howl, all 4 wild wolves attacked at once. They coordinated with one another, weaving past each other, and quickly closed the distance to Zhong Yue. Watching from the tree, Zhong Lu's heart was in his throat. Faced with the attack of 4 wolves, what were they supposed to do? Whoosh. Facing 4 wolves, Zhong Yue remained very calm and did not panic. He took a deep breath, puffed out his abdomen, and then blew hard. The blow dart shot out faster and more accurately than before, like a fired bullet. It viciously pierced straight into the eye of the first mountain dog charging at him. He took one down in an instant. Bro, be careful. Clutching the trunk, Zhong Lu looked down worriedly. The 3 mountain dogs leaped into the air, pouncing at Zhong Yue with the ferocity of wolves attacking a tiger. If they bit him, wouldn't his body be torn into pieces? Facing the pouncing mountain dogs, Zhong Yue took a step back and swung the blowgun sideways with his right hand at one of them. A crisp sound rang out. The blowgun snapped into 2 pieces, with only half left in his hand. After that strike, Zhong Yue advanced instead of retreating, pushing off sharply with his feet to dodge the pounces and bites of the other 2 mountain dogs. He aimed at the mountain dog that had been knocked back and viciously stabbed it with the broken section of the gun tip. Woo! With a mournful cry, the second mountain dog was taken down. This scene left Zhong Lu on the tree utterly dumbfounded, fighting 4 wolves barehanded, and even killing 2 of them. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, who would believe it? Oh woo. The mountain dogs that had missed their target did not feel fear because of their companion's death. Instead, they became even more frenzied. The 2 mountain dogs darted left and right, biting at Zhong Yue's hands and feet at the same time. Zhong Yue gripped the dagger in a backhand hold and stabbed at one of them, the sharp tip getting firmly jammed between its fangs. Seizing the opportunity, he stepped forward with his right foot, drove up his knee, and raised his elbow, unleashing a Baji Quan heart-piercing elbow strike. As a special mercenary, he was proficient in many forms of ancient martial arts and combat techniques. Among them, Baji Quan was the most powerful in close combat, and there was no need to show mercy when dealing with beasts like mountain dogs. Crack! A crisp sound rang out, and the mountain dog struck by the elbow fell to the ground like a kite with its string cut. Its breastbone caved in, dead beyond doubt. The 3rd mountain dog was killed. Swish! At that moment, the claws of the last mountain dog slashed past Zhong Yue's shoulder, and its fangs were only half a meter from his neck. Zhong Lu up in the tree stared wide-eyed, his heart pounding. He could no longer care about his fear of the mountain dogs. As he jumped down, he flung out the back basket and cast it directly over the mountain dog. Thud! Zhong Lu hit the ground hard, baring his teeth in pain. When he got up, he saw that the back basket had already been shoved open, and a pair of green vertical pupils was staring at him. The next moment, he saw Zhong Yue pounce like a starving tiger, plunging the dagger into the mountain dog's throat with one stab. Zhong Yue stabbed several more times in succession, only stopping after the mountain dog stopped moving. He breathed heavily in great gulps and gave Zhong Lu a thumbs up. Not bad. The fact that he had been able to react to that moment just now showed that his ancient martial arts and fighting skills had not been practiced in vain. If it had been anyone else, without his kind of skill, they would have died long ago. Bro, you're amazing, as fierce as Wusong. Zhong Lu's eyes sparkled, and he already regarded Zhong Yue as a tiger-slaying hero straight out of a book. Just now, he had only dared to make a move in a moment of hot-headed impulse. If he were given another chance, he definitely would not dare jump down. But Zhong Yue had taken the initiative to hunt, killing all 4 mountain dogs by himself. Thinking of what had just happened, it was damn thrilling. Deal with the meat first. We can't stay here long. Zhong Yue did not get carried away with pride. His eyes remained alert. Wolves are pack animals, and there might be more around. The bloody smell on the ground had already spread, so he had to deal with these 4 wolves quickly. Bro, your butchering technique is so skilled, even faster than the village pig butcher. Zhong Lu dragged over a wolf and watched Zhong Yue gut it. That technique could only be described as smooth and flowing. With one slice and one pull, the belly was opened up, and the organs and intestines came spilling out together with the fishy, foul-smelling blood. He knew this was called clearing the cavity. Once a dead prey animal isn't bled in time, the meat turns gamey and foul-smelling and can't be eaten. Usually the organs are discarded. Hang these up in the tree. After draining the blood, Zhong Yue continued processing the other mountain dogs. The organs were awful, and no one wanted to eat them, nor could they be sold for money. Hanging them in the tree was to prevent running into other prey again. They could be used to lure them and buy some time. Of course, there was another saying for it too, honoring the mountain god. Bro, save me 1 wolf pelt. Zhong Lu obediently hung the offal in the tree, then came running over with a grin. He'd heard from the older generation that wolf pelts could cure rheumatism. If he took one back and draped it over grandma's feet, they wouldn't ache when the weather turned cold. So you do know wolf pelts are the best, Zhong Yue said with a smile. After dealing with the mountain dogs, he tossed 2 of them into the back basket. He slung the remaining 2 over his shoulder. Each mountain dog weighed a little over 60 jin, and once they got back and skinned them, removing the unwanted parts, there would still be 200 jin of meat left. That would be enough to eat for quite a while. And counting the 4 wolf pelts, they could sell for at least 200 yuan, equivalent to half a year's income for an ordinary family. No, I didn't know. I just heard about it. Zhong Lu scratched his head foolishly and explained why he wanted the wolf pelt. We'll divide it up when we get back. Let's head down the mountain first. Zhong Yue lifted the back basket onto Zhong Lu's back, not intending to stay any longer. If other prey caught the scent of blood and came running over, then it would be dangerous. Bro, I did okay, right? Next time you go hunting, take me with you too. Zhong Lu kept looking back as he walked, feeling a little uneasy inside. He'd been very excited when they first came up the mountain, but when he actually saw the prey, he almost pissed himself in fear. But with this experience now, next time he definitely wouldn't be so scared that he'd climb a tree. You did pretty well this time. I'll call you next time I go up the mountain. Zhong Yue nodded in agreement, fairly satisfied with Zhong Lu's performance. Being able to overcome his fear of wild beasts and jump down from the tree was already very good for someone going up the mountain for the first time. An hour later, Wang Fuguwei had just returned from the riverside after going out to catch fish when he turned his head and saw 2 people walking out of the woods. Before he even had time to say hello, he stared wide-eyed at the drooping wolf heads and said, "Dear mother of mine, where did you get these?" That cry of shock immediately made everyone else nearby turn their heads. When they saw the mountain dogs Zhong Yue was carrying, everyone ran over. Their expressions were more shocked than the last. "Xiao Yu, where do you get these mountain dogs, dear mother of mine? There are more in the back basket too, for in total, where did you find them?" No one guessed that the 4 mountain dogs had been hunted. They all thought the 2 had struck incredible luck and found them. "Of course we hunted them. How awesome is that?" Zhong Lu lifted his chin smugly. If he had a tail, it would already be sticking straight up into the sky. "Oh, stop bragging. You didn't even have a gun, and you could hunt mountain dogs?" "Exactly. Don't tell me someone else killed them and left them there, and you just happened to pick them up on the way back. That's not good. If people find out, you'll be in trouble." Say what they would, but quite a few people still cast envious looks their way. We're all from the same village. If you don't say anything and I don't say anything, who would know where these mountain dogs came from? But only on the condition that you share the meat. You, Everyone who sees it gets a share, so give us some meat, will you? I haven't tasted mountain dog meat before. Wang Fugui reached out, wanting to grab the meat in the back basket, but Zhong Lu slapped his hand away. We shot them ourselves, believe it or not. Seeing this, Zhong Yue smiled and explained, we really did shoot them ourselves. It took quite a bit of effort. Hearing Zhong Yue say this, everyone's expressions changed. Everyone knew that Zhong Yue had once learned hunting from old Qi too. Even if he hadn't learned all of his skills, he had learned most of them. A skilled hunter can set traps to catch prey even without a gun. Looking at the bloodstains on Zhong Yue, he clearly had just come down from the mountain after hunting. Good heavens, so you really did shoot them yourselves? Wang Fugui stood there with his mouth open in shock, exchanging looks with the others. No one doubted that Zhong Yue was lying. He still remembered the last time with the fish catching. After learning it, he caught quite a lot of fish. Thinking about it, the two of them had taken down 4 mountain dogs with their bare hands. That was way too enviable. The fish in their hands suddenly didn't seem so appealing anymore. That was several hundred jin of meat, and the wolf pelts could also be sold for a large sum of money. At this thought, Wang Fugui almost blurted out, "You, when are you going hunting next time? Can you take me with you?" As soon as he said that, the others' eyes lit up. These days, whose family isn't living on a shoestring? If they learned how to hunt, would they still have to worry about not having food? Anyway, let's go to the procurement station first. Zhong Yue smiled and waved his hand, neither agreeing nor refusing. They were all from the same village and were bound to see each other all the time. Even though he didn't share the meat, the polite words still had to be said. Watching their backs recede, Wang Fugui was full of envy and muttered, if Qi Gui knew Zhong Yue was this good at hunting, he'd probably regret it bitterly.